Chapter 7. Bloodbath. LA-style James Brown is dead. There were Fok's soldiers in line everywhere along the walls around the massive, open-space dance floor, but just one guy standing in the center of it, waiting. He looked impressive, one of the bigger guys but aesthetically just like Tomas. No one spoke a word. No one shot at Tomas immediately.
A fortunate thing to happen.
After a closer look, he noted that many of them looked like bounty hunters. Different races and all. Not many of them packing, though, at least not visibly.
Another punishment, perhaps? Only an idiot repeats the same mistake again.
Tomas was baffled.
I have come to see Fok.
The lone man in the center moved forward. Tomas said,
You're not Fok, are you?
For a moment, Tomas thought that the first Fok could have been a deception. But this man wasn't Chinese. He was Caucasian and young. Tomas thought it was unlikely that he was Fok. The man began speechlessly approaching Tomas in a very confident, calm walk. Tomas got confident and cocky, seeing that most likely they wanted to take turns on him. Tomas said,
You think you can take me on alone? I'm the ghost!
He was using intimidation tactics. As soon as Tomas started running towards the guy, someone turned the loud club music on, possibly to cover the noise of the fight, not to draw attention to it. As soon as Tomas was close enough, he overshot his spin-heel jump kick over the guy's head because he just easily dodged it, ducking slightly. Their places reversed. Tomas angrily began to rapid-fire the guy with kicks and punches. However, the man intercepted them with ease and interrupted all of the attacks. Intercepted. That rarely ever happened before Tomas was that fast. This guy intercepted them all, one after another, without breaking a sweat. Tomas said,
Oh, you are something else, aren't you? I can do the same thing, you know.
Showing a come-at-me movement with his left hand. The guy still wore a poker face, no words, ignoring him. Tomas stood there for a few seconds, expecting to be attacked soon, but the guy still stood in his place, motionless, not even in a fighting stance, just casually. What an insult, Tomas thought. He rushed to attack the guy in anger for showing such disrespect to him, but it was the same story. Tomas's attacks just got disrupted with the interceptions, not even allowing him to finish the striking movement. The last intercepted kick even hurt him, and Tomas's facial expression revealed that. Suddenly, it was the guy storming on Tomas instead. To his satisfaction, Tomas managed to do the same interception to the guy. Tomas said,
Told you that I can do the same.
A cocky smile appeared on his face. Out of nowhere, the guy attacked again with a combo of 2 punches and a roundhouse kick into Tomas's midsection, but didn't get through his interception defenses. This time Tomas's left arm got visibly hurt doing the interception, as he shook it off a few times in the air, then made a fist again. His cocky smile and body language spoke, "It's nothing" to his opponent. Another wave of attacks pummeled Tomas with surprising speed. This time it was too fast for interception. Too fast to try to dodge them, too. Tomas ended up blocking or accepting the hits at safe places, whilst trying to land some hits of his own onto the opponent. In one instance, Tomas had to block an incoming strike on his face, raising both of his arms up due to the power of the strike, blocking his view temporarily. It was only for a millisecond, really, but as soon as the hit impacted on his arms, Tomas lowered his defense so he could see his opponent again. He wasn't in front of him anymore. A quick look to his left revealed that the guy just finished his wall run by an inwards crescent kick. The massive impact on Tomas's left cheek sent him to the floor, spitting out blood while losing his cap. At least all of his teeth were still there for the moment. The guy was insanely fast. The combo that he did after almost didn't give Tomas any time to react after he fell onto the floor. But Tomas kind of expected another one. In the last moment, he managed to avoid the incoming attack, and in retaliation, to send his opponent to the ground as well. They both quickly got up again, and Tomas stormed at the guy first, visibly angry. The other guy was still calm and collected, as if nothing was happening. Tomas's attacks were fast enough this time to not allow for interception, but got blocked instead. That slowed Tomas down a lot, and a full reversal followed. Now it was him being pummeled by the attacks that Tomas barely managed to block in the last moment. He used both hands to protect his face again for a split second, blocking his view. Tomas accepted the impact, and then lowered his hands to see again. The guy wasn't in front of him again.
He's done it to me twice.
Just as Tomas predicted, he caught him wall running on his left side again. The guy finished the wall run with a butterfly kick to Tomas's face, dislocating his jaw and launching him to the floor once again after Tomas's body performed a 540-degree front flip landing face down. The momentum of the kick was so great. Tomas just managed to turn around on his back and snap his jaw back into position when the opponent got on top of him and started to batter him with punches. Tomas resorted to jiu-jitsu and grabbed onto his opponent, closing the distance of their bodies together so the guy was unable to strike at him. Tomas was a very strong guy, and the opponent struggled with long groundwork to get at least his legs free from Tomas's grip and disruptions so he could stand up again. Even though the guy was possibly stronger, Tomas used the advantage of lever arms in the position that he found himself. As soon as the guy got his legs free and managed to stand up, Tomas still wrapped around his upper body. He slammed Tomas into the floor, even though he was slamming himself too. But Tomas's wrapped-around body acted as a cushion to the impact. This was unsustainable for Tomas. Should he be slammed like that more times, he would have to let go eventually. On the second slam, you could hear Tomas's spine's discs crying, his ribs cracking. The guy managed to stand up again for the third time after a brief struggle on the floor and prepared for another slam into the floor. Even he was now visibly struggling in anger, and obviously put all of his effort into the ground slam. Midway slamming Tomas down into the floor, Tomas switched his legs and arms positions quickly. Tomas's legs wrapped themselves around the guy's neck while his arms released fully, generating even more momentum into a backflip, swinging backwards. The combined momentum of the ground slam and Tomas's backflip was enough to throw the guy into the space, whilst Tomas escaped during the backflip phase in between the guy's legs. The guy got thrown away, 3-4 meters into the distance, hitting a pillar before falling down awkwardly, head first, nearly breaking his neck, as the fight was slowly moving over towards the edges of the large floor. Tomas struggled to get up, his face all beaten up and bleeding. His torso hurt with possible cracked ribs. His opponent angrily stood up, wiping off some blood that came out of his mouth after the impact into the pillar, and rushed onto Tomas. As soon as Tomas spotted that, as if by a miracle, he stood back up into a fighting stance instantly. That surprised his opponent and forced him to stop, as he decided to exercise caution. The guy just got owned a moment ago, from a position that he was certain it wasn't possible. Tomas ripped off his shirt and swiped his bloody face with it to see, as the blood coming from his torn right eyebrow was coming into his eye, and to resort to old tactics of intimidation. Not that Tomas expected to have any success with that. Even in his clothes, the other guy looked more buff, but perhaps he wouldn't expect Tomas to be in the shape he was. No visible reaction of his opponent to that, to Tomas's disappointment. He threw away the shirt and began another combo. 2 punches and a spin-wheel kick, all intercepted, with the kick being painfully intercepted with a hit into his ground knee. Thankfully, not at an angle that would have snapped it. It forced Tomas down to his knees, though. As Tomas looked up, expecting a strike, instead he now saw the guy showing him the come here hand move. Such an insult.
I'm the ghost,
he thought. That is when Tomas went into a rage and the following skirmish bloodied both of them. Both started angrily front-kicking their opponent away from them as soon as they got hit, or combo hit, in hope to create distance between themselves. For a while, it looked like they played human pinball, their bodies bouncing off the objects and pillars around them. Multiple hits with elbows or knees ensued as both their styles turned into tie box simultaneously. Tomas's opponent was bloodied too at this point. He'd possibly never been in such a state as now before. His midsection hurt visibly, and his clothes were torn. But he was slowing down less than Tomas after each hit received, and even though it could have been 50-50 in hits scored, Tomas was losing steam a lot faster. Within a minute of the human pinball, the opponent managed to land an axe kick onto Tomas's face, almost knocking him out. Then he grabbed Tomas at his neck from behind and started to choke him out. That created opportunity for Tomas to skillfully Aikido throw the guy over his shoulder onto the floor while fixing his arm in an awkward position. The arm would have snapped at the elbow if it wasn't for the guy's buff stature that comes with stronger ligaments and tendons binding the joint. The guy went into a rage after that while Tomas increased his anger into a frenzy. The following skirmish battered both, but Tomas was slowing more and more and more, until like by a magic switch, he couldn't move anymore. Not to strike, nor to block. Couldn't even stand on his feet anymore and fell to his knees, struggling to balance his body to stay upright. The other guy, barely able to walk himself now, with a limp after Tomas's almost successful attempt to snap his leg at the knee during the skirmish, went to stand right behind Tomas once again, locking his neck in a snapping position. Both of Tomas's arms raised, trying to prevent that, but really there was no more strength to resist anymore. Something pinched Tomas in his neck, as if he was being injected with something.
"This is your chance. This is the best I can do for you,"
the guy said. Then he let go of Tomas, who fell instantly to the floor onto his back, as now he didn't even have enough strength to balance himself upright. Then the guy reached into his torn, fancy jacket and pulled out a pack of money bonded together with a rubber band. He then threw it onto Tomas's chest as he lay on the floor helpless.
"Let it be said that I have beaten the ghost. But I want no part in his death. Tell Fok that he can keep his money. I have done my part of the promise and pacified the ghost. But I have no personal quarrel with him, and you will have to finish him yourself. It is my opinion now that I am not worthy to finish off such a talent, nor are any of you. Do as you please."
Anger reverberated in the mysterious man's voice. Then he started to walk away, limping.
I have spent a lot of time in hiding. I resisted. I have given them every opportunity to just let go of me. But the Triads wouldn't listen. They ignored my warnings of what would happen otherwise. I know that I don't stand much of a chance, but I will not just roll over and die on a silver platter for them. I will not go without a fight. They might take my life, but I will have my vengeance before that happens. I will show them the animal they all say that I am.